Okay, I'm going to go ahead and try to install this LensCoat on the 800 PF, and I'm going to try and do it right here on camera, because the installation, in my opinion and my experience for these things, is a big part of the consumer experience. So sometimes they go on pretty good, and sometimes it's a struggle. So I'm just using a clean used toothbrush to just take off, because I've been using this lens, just take off some grit and grime. I'm curious to see whether I'm going to be able to reuse this cover, the lens cover. Oh man, that's hard to see. Can you guys tell? Or does it look pretty square? Ugh. I kind of lost my my perspective. I'm going to try and run it down this way. I'm going to try and run it right down this way and then stretch it over. I'm going to bring this over here where I can work on it. And this may be, I apologize in advance, this may be a bit of a sloppy video as far as picture goes, and even audio, because I may be moving around in a position where you can't hear me very well, or you can't see me or what I'm doing very well, but I'll try. Now, here's a question. I already see something I don't like. So, anybody who has the 800 PF lens, you know that there's a control you have to operate on here, and there's no cutout for it. There's no notch or anything, so that's something I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to notch this out where the unlock mechanism is. I've already taken the foot off. I did that before I started the video. You didn't need to watch me do that. But it is a star or a Trex screw in the foot, and it's a number 15. So make a note. A number 15 Trex head is what you're going to need to remove that foot. So don't find yourself in a position where that's not having that tool is stopping you from getting something done you want to. I know how that is. So a number 15 Trex is what you need for that. All right, now we're coming down. Now the next question I have is, this may disappoint me too. I was hoping that this next piece, and now you should be able to see. So here's the function ring with the function buttons. It's also got a really nice rubber tactile ring all the way around. I was hoping that this next ring would just be a really thin one, but no, it covers this whole thing. I don't think I'm going to like that. And it's even got one that goes over the function ring. So that is number 3 and number 4. I am skipping. All right, so now here's number 5. Ooh, which one's number 5? I think it's this one. I think this one is number 5. This would be the one that goes between the focus ring and the function ring. That's okay. That I want. And I'll turn this because I got to go over that foot mount. And as you get smaller and smaller, it gets more and more difficult to go around your foot mount and ring. Where am I? That, okay. Down here. I foresee that what I'm going to probably do at this point in time anyway is I'm going to put on part of this and not part of it, and leave part of it off, because I've gotten myself used to, I use this function ring a lot, a whole lot. I use it for exposure compensation because I'm shooting a lot. I'm usually shooting like birds in flight or airplanes in flight, things like that. So I'm shooting things that might be bright or dark against a bright sky, and I need to have a quick response on my exposure compensation when I see a white bird being silhouetted, for example, or an airplane or something like that being silhouetted against the sky. I need to be able to crank up that exposure comp like instantaneously. And I found that having this the function ring right here for my exposure compensation is just about perfect for that. I do not want to cover this stuff down here. I also do occasionally use the memory reset. I'll set a focus point and use these buttons to jump back to it. So I don't want to mess with that either. I may take this one and I may cut it. I may either cut it and make it narrower so that it goes here in between these, or I will. I was gonna say I may notch out for. I may cut big U notches out for these buttons, but I kind of don't want to do it that way. But we'll see. I'm gonna give that a little bit of thought. This is a $100 lens cover, so you don't want to just chop it up and then think about a better way you should have done it. Number 6 now goes where? Over the focus ring. I'm trying to debate whether I want to do that. I don't think so at this point. So I'm going to leave number 6 undone. Now, this one is number 7 or I guess this is number 8. I'm off. I'm off a little bit somewhere. That was number 7. This one is where your foot mount goes, and it's got holes and slots for the locking knob and for your strap connections, which I'm using. So I do like having this on to protect the lens, especially, the more time you're going to spend around salt water in the salt air, the better it is to have some protection on your lens. Feed that through. There we go. I use the Peak, those Peak Design systems. Okay, covering up the shiny nameplate, which is kind of good actually, because that's like a little too bright. I could see the sun hitting that thing, scaring the bejesus out of all the wildlife. And it's got the little window. I guess I can put this on. It's got the window, but see, there's no cutout for the memory button. There should be at least a hole for the memory button, and there's not. So you've got the window goes here, so on the opposite side there should be a hole for the memory button, and there is not. One of the other things about these, not just LensCoat, but all the lens covers that are like this, and there's only a few brands I think, but the one thing about all of them that I'm not a huge fan of is that they cover up a lot of the index points that you need on your lens. Like you lose your for your collar, for your foot, you lose your index points for am I straight, and all that kind of stuff. So I don't like that. I don't like losing those things. I may cut this plastic window out too. It has a plastic window for the lens controls. Now this lens has much fewer controls than some of the ones we're used to with the old f-mount lenses, but it still does have your autofocus range. So I've left a lot of open space here, a lot of open black, and I have covers for it. but I don't know that I want to use them because I don't want to give up. I don't want to give up. You know, like I said, I use this function ring a whole lot for exposure compensation. I've got a feel for it. My fingers feel that, they know that, because it has a different feel than the focus ring. If I put this on there, it's going to feel like the whole rest of the lens, you know, and I'm never going to be able to find it. So I don't like that, and I don't like covering up these buttons. You know, I don't want to reduce the functionality of my lens, even if I don't use that particular function. I don't want to take away the option with my lens cover. So the parts that I've put on, they seem to fit pretty good, and they're well made, just like LensCoat products tend to be, and it looks fine. This is the Realtree Max 4. Okay, so there it is. That's as much as I'm going to install right now, and I'm going to go from here. I would like to cover more, but I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose the functionality. So I may trim the other piece to just cover the band in between where it says Nikkor S, or I may even notch out for these buttons. But I like this feel right here too. This rubber is very tactile. And I hate to lose that feel. That's part. This is a big lens, and you need to have places you can grab, and index points where your fingers know where you are. That's important. All right. So anyway, it's better than it was as far as protection, right? And I'm gonna go with it with this for a while. Okay, summing up or following up, it's been a few days since I put this on. I've had it out a couple of times and, you know, gone on shoots with it, and it works good. I do like to have my lenses, especially my big lenses that I'm gonna have out in, you know, the elements, covered. And I've used a lot of LensCoat products. I'm a little disappointed with some of the things that I've talked about while I was doing the install. I'm disappointed that it completely covers up a lot of the index points that I need. I like to be able to know that the foot is straight, you know. I like those index points, so I'm going to probably just take scissors and notch that out. As far as the other things, the only thing I left, I did go back and put on 2 more rings. The only thing I have left off is the focus ring and the function ring, because I use, obviously, those a lot. This one is, underneath here are the memory recall buttons, or the other function buttons. They are programmable. What I'm going to try is, I'm going to try to use a hole punch, like a regular office supply store hole punch. So I didn't have one. I thought I might dug around through a bunch of drawers, didn't have one, so I ordered one, and in a day or two I'll have that. And I'm going to try to just punch a hole where each of those buttons are, you know, like with a paper hole punch. And I'm going to try to do the same thing back here where the memory button is, or on the other side, wherever the memory button is, to set your focus point. I'm going to see if I can get away with doing that before I carve out pieces of it. So I'm trying to be patient about that. Meantime, you know, I can use it until then if I need to. But there it is. There is the LensCoat cover for the Nikon 800 PF, with the exception of 2 that I didn't put on there. They're right here. If anybody wants them, give me a shout. But those I left off. Everything else I put on, and I did go ahead and get the front cover. My logic was, you know, I just wanted something easy to slip on and off. The black leatherette one that comes with the lens does fit over this, but you kind of have to pull it, and it ends up pulling the neoprene, you know, kind of rolling it up in the front. This one also goes on pretty snug, but it seems to fit a little better, and also obviously it matches. But the big reason for that is I decided that it would be better to just save the original lens cap cover, you know, for posterity. I'll put it in the box, and if for any reason I ever sold this lens, I can't imagine why I would, but, you know, if I fall on hard times and it's either the kidney or the lens, and I sell this lens, then, you know, I'm going to want to have that in really nice shape to go with it. So there we go. There is the LensCoat cover for the Nikon 800 PF. One quick last thing I wanted to mention. The way it goes around the foot, you know, you take the foot off to do the installation, but even the foot mount. I've got several LensCoat covers, and each one of them goes on a different way. My one for my 600 f4 is literally an adhesive you have to peel off and stick it on to the collar. Then I have one for the 500 PF that had a square hole that you kind of had to squeeze, stretch over the foot mount. This one has the cutout for the foot mount with just 2 pieces of elastic. It went on the best of any of those, but my only worry would be that, you know, that elastic is eventually going to either lose its elasticity, possibly, or more likely just dry rot over time and just snap, you know how elastic bands tend to do. That's the only thing I would be a little bit cautious of there. But yeah, that was the only other thing worth mentioning, really, in terms of detail, so there you go. So a couple things coming up that I want to mention. Number one, I have been for a solid month, I have been shooting with this lens like continuously, almost exclusively. And I've got a lot of content, some video that I've shot and a lot of stills that I've shot. And I want to talk more in depth about this lens. After a month of use, I want to really do a video and talk about how does this thing work in the field. The other lens that when I'm not using this recently, I've been using the new 100 to 400, particularly at an air show. I think that was the perfect lens for the air show, and I used it almost the whole time with a 1.4 TC on it. So I want to talk to you about that. I want to show you video and stills from that lens as well, and talk about that. So stay tuned for that stuff coming up. If you don't subscribe to the channel, now would be a great time to go hit that subscribe button. And while you're down there hitting buttons, I'd really appreciate it if you'd hit the like button. That'll help me out a lot. Might get other folks to see the channel and jump on board. But I hope you guys are having a great day, and I hope to talk to you again real soon.